I'll tell you a little bit about the Gilbert Brown Foundation. I think most of you know this, but I'm just going to regurgitate this so that everybody does. We have the lowest administrative fees probably on the planet when it comes to charities, because we only have a website fee that we do, and then we pay someone to do the taxes, because all y'all don't want any of us doing those taxes. I can guarantee you that. So we want to keep that nice and safe. It is a 501c3. So that helps us a lot. It allows us to do the little raffle license. How many folks of you in here also belong to the Tavern League? If you do, you probably saw that little thing where they tried to get something as simple in all of the bars and areas, just as simple as allowing that wheel to be done in a bar, and obviously that did not pass at all. So that 501c3 license is gold to you. Always make sure that if you're doing any kind of fundraising at all, you have that license hung up, okay? So that's a big, big plus for all of us, if you will. Questions about where that money goes. Gilbert works with Waco a lot, and all of you guys know that he comes to various campgrounds, he does various things. All of you, I can't even tell you about the support that you bring to it, and I know all the work that you do, and I know that no matter what you do for fundraising, whether it's something that seems to be simple or little, it's all work. And we can't even tell you how much that we appreciate it, if you will. Prior to, and I don't know how many of you know this story, but before Gilbert started working with the foundation a little bit more, he privately funded all of the activities that the foundation did. So just the football camps themselves cost about $100,000. So now Waco is a very good partner with the organization. We probably raise almost, I think it was 18% of the money that the foundation has. So that was huge, a big increase from where we were last year. So today, with Waco and other partners, he runs a yearly free football camp, but he contributes to over 156 children's charities throughout the state of Wisconsin. And we will have a very special guest. Caden will be with us on Friday night. He is very, very excited. Just so you know a little bit about Gilbert, he's very cautious about having the kids kind of participate in sharing their stories and that kind of thing. Well, Caden set him straight on that. He said, if I'm ever going to be a sports announcer, I need some practice. So let me help. And he said, I want to do this. I enjoy it. I feel like I'm giving back for all that you guys have given to me. And he is a hoot. He talks about the foundation in a lot of different venues, and he's really become quite good at it. I don't know if most of you heard the story, but last year he got his bike. And he has wanted a bicycle, I believe, from the time he was about 7. And he couldn't get a bike because it took special needs with he's got one flipper arm and then not another arm. So he needs a very special designed bike. And those little designer bikes are not cheap. So he finally talked Mama into letting him have one, because you do fall off bikes. So she was very, very cautious about that, but he talked Mama into doing that. And there is a thing, I didn't even know about this, but there is an actual rodeo, they call it, for kids with special needs so that they can be fitted for a bike. The problem is they have lots of kids, and the kids go there, they get fitted for this bike, but then they have to wait in line for the funding. So I can't even imagine how hard that would be for a kid to be able to go and, oh, I get to ride this bike, and then, oh, but you don't get to take it home. That would be, I think, very, very tough. But he was able to go. He was so excited that we said before he went, we're going to fund it, so, get him a bike, get him into that bike. He has his phone now, so he texts me, Miss Lori, call me. We have a problem. I was like, oh boy. I thought, oh man, the bike must have not worked. It must not have fit him. What in the heck? So I gave him a call, and he said, I can't take the bike. I said, why? He said, you don't understand, honey. The funding is done. It's no big deal. It's done. He's like, there's a little girl here. She wants a bike. She's only 4. We can't do this. How are we going to do this? So he was going to give the little kid his bike. Yeah. Tears me up because that little boy is amazing. And so what we did is, he said, how about this? I'll give the bike this year, and the next year I'll get my own bike. So I said, or how about we buy 2 bikes? So he liked that idea a whole lot better. But it is crazy how many little kids need bikes like that in Wisconsin. I learned the number last year. Guess how many? 28. So you guys need to stand up and give yourself a big round of applause because we got all 28 sponsored through local. So all that was done because of you, because of what you did. We sponsored every one of them through here, so it was super exciting. The other places that we do obviously donate money to is Brett Favre's Forward group. We work with him. We also do some scholarship programs to schools in Wisconsin. We are lucky enough to be able to do a lot of those with the campgrounds where we raise the money, which excites me to death. I think that's really cool. Gas cards is a big thing. One of the things that I didn't realize when you're working with St. Jude's and sometimes the Children's Hospital, they are really good about providing those resources, except you can't get there. So they'll give you the, no problem, you can get the services, but you still gotta drive there. And most of the places are, like for us, the closest one's Chicago. So they need gas money. Unfortunately, when something like this happens, a lot of times one parent can't work. So they also have some issues with that, if you will. We provide funding for MS, Red Cross, Rawhide's Boys Ranch. We're going to be getting a lot more involved with them right now. I think most of you know that Bart passed. So that was his kind of wish is that some of those guys from the 31 team step up and help them make that work. So they're going to be all focused on doing that a little bit this year, if you will. We also work with the Teddy Bear Fund, which is very interesting. We actually do a little work with some of the prison systems, you know, and probably the weirdest story, if anybody ever done that, like went into prison and visited people and did stuff? Well, I did for the first time. It was not pretty, I'll tell you this, because first of all, you can't be like totally stupid and ignorant to the policies and procedures of prisons when you go. I learned that quickly. So the first thing that I had to do was, you have to put everything that you have in like a little locker room, you know? And so I took like everything that I thought was important off, you know, and then I went through the scanner, and the guy is wanding me, and he's like, like 5 times. It was so embarrassing. And finally he said, you're going to have to remove that piece of clothing. And I'm like, Gilbert, Santana, all these guys are, I'm like, no, hell no, I am not doing that. You know, he goes, well, you can't get in unless you do that. And then they give you a garbage bag to put your stuff in, you know. So I'm like, okay, you know, so this is going to be pretty, right? You know, so do my thing. We get in there, and these guys are playing with rabbits. I kid you not. These prison guys are so fast. I mean, it's all they do all day. So they are like killing these guys. And you know, these guys are really, don't tell Gilbert, they're not that young anymore, you know, so they're out there trying to play the basketball thing, you know, and they're just getting kicked. So Santana comes over to me and he's like, Lolo, Gatorade. I'm like, Gatorade? Are you kidding? I couldn't get my bra in here. You think I have Gatorade on me? Are you kidding me right now? So needless to say, some of the little adventures that we go on are quite the deal. When they go in and talk to those guys, a lot of times there are people in there that you maybe can't make a difference in their lives, but there's some that have been in there just a short time, and you maybe can. I remember watching the game, sitting down there, and I said to the guy, oh, I think I remember you from the last time that I was here. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, if you come back 20 years from now, you'll see me again. I was like, okay. Probably shouldn't make small talk with people in here, you know. But the Teddy Bear Fund provides services like they need materials. They do our shovel covers. They need materials to do different things, programs. And it's specifically for offenders that have an opportunity to go ahead and get out and make some changes in their lives. So the guys talk to them a little bit and do some things with that, if you will. Obviously, the free football camp is something for the inner city. I think that's one thing we should do probably a little bit more promotion on in our campgrounds and let people know that that is one of the things that's being funded. The real big thing right now is anti-bullying things and talking to the schools and some of those kinds of things that I think are super important to people. And we're going to talk about some of those experiences that some of you have had real shortly here. A little bit about what the foundation does for you. I think so many times we sort of forget that it really is a give and take, and in some years Gilbert gives more, and some years we give more, so it's hopefully kind of a little bit of a wash, if you will. That Madison show pricing. How many of you enjoy that $300 reduction that you get in that? It's kind of a cool thing, if you will. That came specifically from having those players there. It was supposed to be a one-year deal, and then Dave said, you know what, you guys did such a great job, I'm going to do it every year for you. So we were able to get in and work with that group a little bit better. The Green Bay show is the same thing. Waco benefits from that. If you notice now, they hand out the bags at the door. How many of you remember the days when you were like the red-haired stepchild? They didn't hardly want to talk to you at Green Bay. It was a total different experience than it is now. Now they hand out everything and do everything, if you will. New campground memberships, believe it or not, there are some people that is why they join. Great River Harbor would have been a super good example of that. That's their whole thing. They just, they really didn't know too much about Waco, but they said, okay, if that's what we got to do to get somebody to come here, that's what we'll do. Youth developments within the campgrounds, obviously that continued link between Waco and the Green Bay Packer players. That is one of the neat things. Gilbert's got a way of being able to get some of those new players so that we continuously have that connection, if you will, and other player connections. The social media reach is huge for us. That helps us a lot. They attend to conventions at no charge and as sponsor. The anti-bullying awareness. The kids camp comes here, does some things for free. Is a presenter and assists with the auction. And then, of course, that revenue generator for us, that 501c3. So that is an important piece to it for sure. There's a little bit about the foundation's responsibility, what the campgrounds are asked to do. They'll, just so that you know, the players will conduct phone and press interviews for you before the event. The foundation needs to collect funds at the event, supply merchandise before the event. Last year we did something with Devontae where you could actually pick up merchandise. Will be the same thing this year if you want some of that merchandise to use. We brought plaques and framed stuff that's really hard to ship and that kind of thing. So if you want to use some of those items, you certainly can. That type of thing. You can use your likeness. You can use their press stuff, and that helps really a lot. The campground responsibilities, they should provide the foundation with flyers and proof of advertising efforts, listing of where they're placed and the media variations, an outline if you're doing anything funky, and we're going to talk about some fun, funky things, if you will. We always try to raise at least $2,500 if we have a player at an event. And Gilbert's waived his many, many times if you do a weekly raffle or do something like that, if you will. How much does Waco pay for this? Not a dime. Those appearances are all, none of that is anything to do with Waco at all, or as far as a fee. And the same thing with our time. Severson and Associates donates the office space. We donate the line, the email, that kind of time. So none of that comes from Waco. And as you can see, this is the part where we do the drum roll. Can you do a drum roll? Last year we said, wouldn't it be cool if we could raise over $100,000 for the Gilbert Brown Foundation? We raised $154,000, thanks to each and every one of you. That was pretty cool. So. And Caden's going to do a lot better job and do more about that for that, if you will. One of the things that we wanted to hear from today is what are some of the things that work for you What are some of the things you want to know more about? Okay, and I think we have some people that will help us start with this. Is that right? All right, give you. I got her. We'll take turns.
Okay, so I'm from Lake Arrowhead Campground in Montello, and we've done a variety of things with Gilbert over the years. Of course, we do the programs that he brings out, and those always go very well. A couple other ideas that we've done over time. At one point, we worked with the foundation to make some just plain white t-shirts with the foundation's information on it, as well as our campgrounds, and we sold those for tie-dye, and that was a very good fundraiser we did. When Lori's talking about the items that you can get, like the signed footballs and plaques and things, to raffle off, you can make that as complicated or uncomplicated as you want. One thing that was really easy, that worked really well for us this past season, is when we would have DJs. We would have the DJs raffle off those items during the evening, and we found that people really enjoyed that, as well as raising money for the foundation. We've also done we do like Amazon Smile. If you're familiar with Amazon Smile, when you use that, you sign up for a charity that you want your donation to go towards. And anytime you buy something on Amazon, they give a percent to that charity. And we have gone to that system with our seasonals because we want to track what our seasonals are spending in our store. So we do a seasonal rewards program where you give us your site number when you buy anything, and you can pick the charity that your donation goes to. We give our seasonals 5 charities to pick between. One of them is the foundation. So that's another really easy way that we're raising money. And then we know exactly what our seasonals are spending their ancillary money on. We do corn boils every year where we are able to get ears of corn donated for free. We go right into the fields and they dump the corn right into our truck. And we boil that corn and hand it out for free and then ask our customers to donate. And we've given that donation to the foundation many times. It's a really fun event. We do lots of activities at the same time, fills up the campground, and we're not paying for anything. We've also done a barbecue competition where Gilbert came in and judged and raised money through that. We've done a jail and bail where you swear out a warrant. Let's say your neighbor across the street is a Bears fan. I mean, that is definitely an offense. So you need to swear out a warrant. You pay that warrant. We have a volunteer sheriff who goes and arrests your friend, locks them up in our jail. We had Gilbert be judge, and he would set the bail. And I mean, a Bears fan, that's a high bail. So then you have to either have your wallet on you or beg your friends who come and laugh at you to give to your cause so you can raise your bail to get out of jail. And just in general, I want to say that working with the foundation has been great. Lori's great. They will give you all sorts of wonderful things that your customers are excited about, and it's a great experience for everyone. So thank you, Lori.
Awesome. I think that's the cool thing. It's hard. Every campground is a little bit different, and it's funky how some things will just go like crazy, and then the next campground is like, oh man, we tried that. It didn't seem to work out very, very well for us. So I think it's a matter of finding the right things that actually work for you, if you will. Who else would like to share? Want to go next, Gilbert? Yeah, here, right here. Yes, you may sit. Good job. Okay, sure.
Can you hear me? My name is Jerry Walter from O'Neill Creek Campground. So recently I had read a post on Facebook, and this is where this all stemmed from. So here's the quick story. So about 7 weeks ago, a former employee of ours posted a text message on Facebook that her boy had been punched in the face. Our employee posted her phone text she had with the other child's mother, which I was like, who does that, right? But she did, and I got sucked into it. I'm like, I'm just going to read this thread. So the other mother that posted, this is what she wrote. This is directly from Facebook, and I don't know the child, and I named the name, but you won't know him. So she wrote on Facebook, "We have been dealing with bullying at Parkview all year with Gavin. It got to the point that he was even sexually assaulted, teacher's words, not mine, in October. I called the cops on this 11-year-old boy, and I was told all they can do is talk to the mom. But since the family is well known in town by the police already, he was sure it would go in one ear and out the other. Another kid told Gavin that he should go kill himself and drew a picture of Gavin killing himself. The mother continued, I was told that he was talked to and that he is a troubled kid. Kids are also calling him Gavin. And the mother ended it with, I guess I'm confused at the zero tolerance for bullying. She also said, I can't tell you how many times I have had to have the suicide conversation with my boys who are 11 and 13. And then I write, this brought me to tears and shook me to the core. And I needed to do something. I wanted to just hug and love all these children. This is when a light bulb went off in my head. I need to bring in the big guy. How thankful I was to be part of Waco, have such a resource of the Gilbert Brown Foundation and a connection with Lori. So I called the principals to ask how they would feel about Gilbert Brown coming in to deliver an anti-bullying program. Woohoo! They were so excited. Together we picked the day and time. Lori said they had time for 2 schools. So I selected Parkview Elementary and Chippewa Falls Middle School 8th graders, of which my son Jared attends. And a little fun fact, Chippewa Falls Middle School is the 3rd largest middle school in the state of Wisconsin. So, now the days leading up to the day Gilbert arrived. Lori had been severely sick. She experienced her mother's passing. It was one day before another big fundraiser for the foundation in Eau Claire, and 3 days before this convention. Not gonna lie, I was a little worried. But, by golly, they did it. Lori, Carla, and Gilbert, they all showed up. Gilbert drove all morning from Michigan to Chippewa Falls, for me, for my community, and for the kids. Gilbert was greeted by a very excited kindergarten through 5th grade student body. Most wore their Green Bay Packer apparel. They were very well behaved and mesmerized that a former Packer player was in their presence. Gilbert got their attention. He made them stand when they asked a question and made them laugh by his answers. Some of the questions they asked were, what kind of watch do you have? Do you know Brett Favre? Do you know Aaron Rodgers? But then he asked them a question. How many of them are a bully? No one raised their hand. Then he asked, how many of you have been bullied? And about 1/3 of the kids raised their hands. And I was sitting in the back of the room and I was like, wow, what a visual to see how many kids feel bullied. How sad. He told them to look in front of them, look behind them, and beside them. These are your classmates. Keep your hands off each other and treat them with respect. And if they all do that on the small scale, then the whole school would result in being respectful on the bigger scale. I certainly felt a sense of accomplishment and gratitude that when I asked for bigger help, I was supported by the foundation. Then we drove to the middle school. Now, if you can imagine, when we walked in, the hometown Chi-High Varsity High School team, hockey team, was playing, oh wait, no, let me start over. In our hometown Chi-High Varsity High School hockey team was playing their state hockey game, and it was projected on the gym wall for the 8th graders. And we shut it off, going into their second overtime for Gilbert, and they were fine with that. They handled it well. Sadly, our team ended up losing. But the 8th graders were the winners. They were mesmerized that a former Packer player was in their presence. Gilbert is loud. He got their attention. He shared his journey of being a young man, being bullied, setting goals, and achieving them. They asked questions too, like, how did he stay motivated? What was he most proud of in his life? And did he achieve his goals? He spoke about 40 minutes, delivering the message to stand up for themselves by going to their peers and role models for help and support. He shared the message to be grateful, love yourself, and treat others with respect. My intention for asking Gilbert to speak that day was to show that there are real good people out there that care, that had struggles and made good choices and can be successful in life. Being a kid is hard these days. If we reached just one of those amazing kids that day, I would be happy. But having someone like Gilbert who is dedicated to his mission of anti-bullying, even more kids will be inspired and saved. Great things happened that day, so thank you, Lori, Carla, and Mr. Brown.
Those are some of the things that kind of work out cool for all of us. If you haven't had an opportunity, I know it's tough because almost every school in the state of Wisconsin calls us kind of on a regular basis and says, hey, can you come on in and talk to the students or whatever. I think it's kind of a perk for campground owners, and I hope that you use that perk. We're going to try to do it just as much as we can. I know we've done some, but when there's an issue or a problem, please give us a call. We will do our very best to get there, and we always try to make sure that you know, the money that's raised in Wisconsin stays in Wisconsin, except for when we're in Pennsylvania. Where are you? Yeah. And, you know, so we try our hardest to make sure that we do that and that it works good for your community and your area, if you will. Who else has got something to share? I think is Mapleview in here? Is she? Mapleview? There she is. Got her, Carla? She's going to tell us a little bit about how it is. Mapleview is like, she's like, I don't know if this is really going to work because I can only do just a little bit at a time.
That's right. A very little bit, mostly all by myself. So we did a lot of 50-50s. And in the first year I did it, I used to go around site to site. And then I felt like I was pressuring people, especially our seasonal, so I stopped that. I figured the sign's up, they know where the office is, they can come in. So 50-50s about 6 times a year. And then the last few years I've been doing a silent auction. And keeping in mind our clientele, I can tell you that everything is pretty much donated. I went to the local cheese place, the wine place, the whatever. And maybe the highest was like, I'm going to say an average of $25. Okay? But I made over $1,000 and I made a whole bunch of people happy because they got a little something for almost nothing. So it takes a lot of work, though, to do a silent auction. And this year, I'm going to ask the seasonals to help me, but if anyone else has had one, maybe they would know. I'm afraid of what they might bring if it's inappropriate. You know what I mean? Yeah, so.
Yeah. The guys are saying you'll probably get more money.
But that was by far our biggest fundraiser, was a silent auction. And then the jerseys, they love them. Except when I had to type Lori and ask if it's possible to get a Detroit Lions jersey, it hurt to type that message, but I do have some Detroit fans.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, I just said I'll see what we can do, but
there you go.
Yeah.
But that's always a cool thing because a lot of times you have different types of fans in different campgrounds and that kind of thing. So, and then we kind of try to keep an eye on them. I know Scenic Ridge has got lots of bear fans, so when we run across some of those types of things, I always try to remember which campgrounds can make best use of the stuff that we have. So we definitely do try to do that.
Mapleview is 25 miles from Green Bay.
Yeah.
So that's why I was kind of shocked.
It shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then another thing that we played was a dice game, left, right, center. And I'm going to keep trying that. I don't know if any of you have ever played that before, but we do it at Christmas for $.
$1?
Yeah, we do for $. Yeah, each $3. It takes a long time, but it gets people interactive. Like you roll dice. If you get a left, you got to put give $1 to the person on the left. If you roll a R, you go to the right. C, it goes to the center, and then eventually there's a pot of money in the center. So we did left, right, center, and then you only won 50% of the pot that was in the center to go to the GBF. So that's fun, and it gets people laughing and you get to know who's around you, but you need to have a lot of people for it to be fun. But so that, and I guess that's about it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else have anything that they want to share, something different? Yeah.
Mine's a little backing up, actually, as far as the topic is concerned to what she said earlier. But from a Waco board member standpoint, I just kind of want to mention when we have our board meetings, our monthly board meetings, there is rarely one of those meetings that goes by where we don't talk about something that has happened that Gilbert and his foundation and his name has specifically opened a door or somehow positively impacted in a new way our organization. And Lori doesn't like to toot her own horn. Actually, we kind of have to beat it into her head to even do this sort of stuff because that's not how she works. She doesn't want to talk about the great work that she does. But she donates all that time to, obviously, the Gilbert Brown Foundation, and I suspect a lot of her time to us that she doesn't actually bill us for. But in any case, by doing that, I can tell you, it makes a huge, huge difference in what we can do as an organization, as Waco, what we as the board can do to, just get meetings with the Wisconsin Towns Association. Wasn't that one example where all the sort of your local zoning administrators and that sort of thing, they all get together for a conference just like our Waco convention, and they talk about new ways they can screw over the average person. I'm not sure if that's exactly on the flyer, but it's something like that. And one of the things that we were able to, no zoning administrators here, right? I hope. At least not mine, anyway. At least not mine. So what Gilbert allowed us to do is we could get in front of them. We actually attended, right, that conference and did a presentation to the zoning administrators to try to help sort of get the word out about campgrounds and how we're not, the scourge of humanity and so on. And did it impact? Maybe, maybe not, but there's no way we would have been there if it weren't for the Gilbert Brown Foundation. And that sort of thing happens all the time. And we don't spend a lot of time calling all you guys and telling you, oh, this just happened because of Gilbert. But just know that, being a board member, I can tell you confidently that it's been huge for us. Huge for us, the impact that this has had in our organization. Even if he wasn't doing all this cool stuff for the kids, it's been a really big impact for Waco. So that's all I got.
Yeah, that was kind of funny at the Towns Association. So Mark has been telling us for years, you need to get in front of those people. Mark Hazelbaker, our attorney, and he's been saying, hey, you got to get in front of these people. This is the group to go on. So every year we call them and say, hey, can we buy a booth to come to your convention? Oh no, we're sold out. They never ever had a spot. When I said, hey, Gilbert Brown would like to come in our booth for Waco and be at your convention. Would that be possible? Yeah, we got room. We got a big space. You want 2 spaces? We'll give you 2 spaces. All of a sudden, there was the miracle and, no problem. There was lots and lots and lots of room. And honestly, this hotel kind of helped us with that. They heard that their dream for that convention was to get a former Green Bay Packer player there. So Michelle put a little bug in my ear, and I called up the Towns Association, and all of a sudden we're friends. So sometimes that's kind of how it works. I'm also amazed at, they celebrated their 20th anniversary of winning the Super Bowl a couple of years back. And when Jerry talked about the schools, I'm just blown away about kids that still know what is going on. It's it doesn't really matter as long as you were a Green Bay Packer at one point. Man, they want to get to know you and they want to hear what you say. So using that celebrity status definitely makes a big impact. Sometimes I probably will be, he'll maybe the first to tell you that I misuse that from time to time. In other words, ask him too much, but he still has yet to tell me no. So I'm going to keep going until he does. But, but we're kind of going for that. Anybody else want to share? Oh, okay, we got one more.
I just wanted to, Christy from Duck Creek in Montgomery, we have almost everything that we do in our campground is for weekends, we do for fundraiser. We have our silent auction, we have, when Gilbert comes in, we do a golf outing. It's our miniature golf outing. We have everybody in our seasonals mix up a little. We have, I think, 17 holes last year that everybody makes up a hole. And obviously it's for fun because we have shots that we drink and it's a blast. We have the shirts we raffle off. It's all that's going to it. We have a poker walk that we do. We actually have a friend of the family that he actually makes his own beer, and he has donated a half barrel that he comes in. He actually crafts his own beer. He's done major competitions. So all that is a donation. When they get beer, they donate it back, and we made like $1,000 just on his beer. It was crazy. I mean, people love, and his beer is like amazing. We do meat raffles. I bet you we do, I mean, we don't do them every weekend, but when we have a big, huge weekend, we always have a meat raffle, and people flock in for those. We have actually taken and done the dollar auction twice last year. One was actually for our silent auction, but we kept one big prize. We actually had a guy that donated, it was a coffee table, but it was a cribbage board that had fish on it. And I got $1,500 for it doing doing this dollar auction. And then we got a pair of tickets from the club seats. We raffled those off, the same thing. People are just so generous, and they love coming in and doing that. But we actually have a wheel that we spin with numbers on it. We sell paddles. That all completely goes to them. But that's how we do our meat raffles too. But we can just spin the wheel, and we get we give out like a portion of the money back to them, and the rest of it all goes to MS. So that's it's a huge thing. So people love to do it. So, yeah.
I think that is one of the funky things about campers. I think they like the gambling and the raffling part of it. It kind of goes together sometimes. They sure seem to like that. And I know you've got a funky new thing that you're doing.
Yep. Last year, our bar manager came up with an idea to do a Bloody Mary competition. We focused on grabbing other bars to come in and compete. We got one even from Wrightstown that came and competed. So we had 12 bars compete. We had a sponsor for the vodka, so we provided the vodka to the bar, and we provided them a stipend to buy their Bloody Mary supplies, and sold 300 tickets. So the bars had to make 10 5-gallon buckets of Bloody Mary so that everybody could sample 3 ounces of it. And then we sold tickets to participate as a taster. The proceeds from the ticket sales went to a cash prize for first, second, and third, and then the rest of the money went to the Gilbert Brown Foundation. So last year we did 300 tickets, and this year we are doing 600 tickets, and Gilbert is joining us at the event this year, so we're hoping to grow it and have it be bigger and better every year.
I wonder if that'll be like that pickle thing. Did anybody ever see that commercial? He did a commercial early on when he was playing, and we were just talking about this the other day. And he's not necessarily a fan, don't say anything, but he's not necessarily a fan of Bloody Marys. But last year he did, how many years ago? It was a long time ago.
A long time
ago. Yeah, a long time ago. But he did a commercial for pickles. Well, the one thing he hates is pickles. So he actually had to eat the pickle. And the face, we were cracking up. Carla and I
got it on my phone. If anybody want to see it later,
he was going to kill us for that one for sure. But you could just see the face. It was like he's making this face like, and they were asking him, is it good? So good. And I sometimes feel like the pickle commercial where like some of the things I make him do, you might remember the dress at convention one time, maybe, we probably have gone a little bit overboard with asking him to do some funky things for the organization, if you will. Anybody else have an idea that they want to share, or maybe a question about what you could do or how it might work? Going once? Going twice? Yeah. There you go. One of the things that we did, and we try to do this for conventions so that everybody can kind of get an idea. This year, we've got a little $5 draw that we've done. You guys might recognize these little bottles. You can get them from your distributors, or you can buy them at Walmart. They're like, I believe, 98 cents. So you got to bucket them. I shouldn't tell you that we have a bucket and we're going to sell them to you for $5, right? So they're like a little jug of alcohol, if you will. They're $5 a draw, and then all they are is just a double-sided ticket that's on one side. So then after you sell them all, you draw a double-sided ticket. They keep their their ticket, and when they match, in this case, you can win a PS4. In other cases, you can have it win whatever it is. And then we also now have little lottery tickets and that kind of thing that you can use for your fundraisers. This one's a big boy one that we're actually going to do here at convention. So you open them up, they're just like a little pull tab type of thing, and you can win up to $1,500. There's, I think, 500, 1,000, and 1,500 in that little bucket, if you will. So we also did some fundraising books for you. So if you need some ideas, we've got some ideas up there. Did I miss anything? Oh yeah, the wine game. Yes, is Melanie here at all? Melanie, Bob? Yes, Melanie. Melanie had this great idea, and I didn't do it exactly right, but I kind of did the best that I could. But and this is what's really fun. When you kind of get into this, you sort of look and say, oh, I found this idea, or I went to this fundraiser. How many of you guys have ever done that? Went to a fundraiser and said, oh, let's steal that idea. That is just great. Melanie went to one that had a spin the wine bottle, and it was really very cool. They had bottles of wine, so you spin the bottle, and whatever wine bottle it goes to, you actually get that wine bottle. And some of the wine bottles were like $100 wine bottles. Well, I don't even know wine at all, and I didn't have time to actually get any fancy wine bottles donated. So all of the wine that we have to play that game is going to be really cool. It's at least $3 a bottle. Some of it is more. So it is like top-notch wine, I'm telling you. But for our game, we just adjusted it a little bit. So you're going to spin a bottle, whatever bottle that it points to, you could win whatever's in that bottle. It's wrapped up with a little wine bottle, and there's, Waco bucks and chances to win Packer tickets and all that kind of stuff in that. So sometimes getting an idea and then figuring out, okay, how can I use a variation of this quick? Next year we'll try the better version, but for this year we'll just kind of try what we know. So sometimes it's just something different, and if you can do something different, it gets them involved and excited. And I'm blown away by the seasonals that will help with those kinds of things. I know Silver Springs has a specific 50-50 lady, right? Yeah. And that's what she does. That's her thing. And she gets so excited when she gets to do the 50-50 and Gilbert's there, and she's like, I did all this for you. and she just is tingly about it, does all the work and is thrilled to death that she got the opportunity to do that. So those are kind of some of the things that work. Anybody else have questions about how this works or why we do what we do? Make sense? Don't ask me about a biking. Can't happen. Although our Minnesota friends, yeah, right? Yeah. However, one of the things, and this is kind of new for us, it'll be kind of exciting. Mr. Santana Dotson is on the NFL Players Association, and he did that on purpose so that he could help us with some of the other areas that we might need help with. So when we need those Bears people or we need other guys, we can count on them. Although Clinton Dix tells us, we have to like him again now because he's by the Bears and he's closer to us. I don't know if I buy that, but that's his story and he's sticking to it. So, any other questions about the conference or what we're going to do tonight or any of that? Everybody coming tonight? Say yes. Be excited. Everybody wearing your garb? Yes. Even if it's a hat, if you don't have a hat, we have hats here for sale for $5. You can have your hat, whatever you need, all right? Any other questions about the convention? Give yourselves a big round of applause. You guys did great. That number was phenomenal. Next year we're going to go for 200,000, right? Right away. All right, you bet.